Anyone have any questions about the minutes?
The only thing that I made note of is under the adjournment, it was adjourned at 6:46. I just added PM to it. Just a little detail.
Any more questions? Need a motion for approval?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion is second, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? There is no old business, so new business, I'll explain before we move in how the process works. We only have one case tonight, so staff will come forward and make their presentation. After staff is done, we will have the applicant come forward and make their presentation. We will have a public hearing in which anyone who is in favor or opposed, or you can speak even if you don't know, you'll have up to 5 minutes to make your statement, and then we will ask for the applicant to return, and they will have 5 minutes for rebuttal. We will close the public hearing. We have a motion, second, discussion, and then the board will vote. We only ask that you do two things if you do decide to speak. First thing you should say when you come to the podium is your name and your address. Okay? So moving forward, new business, applicant Jeffrey Kelly, case number Z24-1.
Everything working? Nice to see you again. Today we have a special exception, case number Z24-1SE. This is a little bit different than other special exceptions you've done before. Usually they're like an ongoing activity, maybe there's some hardened improvements, and this is actually a temporary event. And since a temporary event is going to have over 500 people, that's why we had to have this hearing. So it is, we'll go over some of the details. It's out on Highway 97, about 6 miles south of Hickory Grove. Agricultural, again, a special exception for a large event for a rodeo. And the applicant proposes to have 2 dates for a rodeo, which would be the May 3rd and 4th and September 13th and 14th. I have a picture of the neighborhood here. This is a rather large lot, I believe about 60 acres. And I don't know how to point this thing, but the top red area is where the event is supposed to be held. That's about 27 acres of his property, and it's bounded by Highway 97 to the northern area. And below it is a private road, which is old Highway 97, which bounds the other side of the lot. And if you, I don't have a zoning map up here, but if I had one, it'd be all green. It's all agricultural, and further away, there's a couple RUD lots around here. Here's some pictures I had last year of the entrance off of Highway 97, and you'll see there's a generous queuing area, and the area to the left of the road up there is the parking area, and the area to the right is where the event will be held, and the vendors will be. Here's a little closer picture on the left of the parking area. And then kind of the rodeo area and ring to the left, and below that they will have some vendors and other activities going on there. This is his site plan. It's a little difficult to see, but you see the old Highway 97 is the emergency exit. It's really nice because all the people visiting will come in the entrance and exit on 97, which will leave old 97 open. So he has paramedics or emergency services or anything. They have a direct route out of there that won't interfere with all the people showing up for the rodeo. And you'll see we have field parking there. We're projecting maybe 1,500 people a night for the rodeo. According to code, we need one parking space for poor attendance, which leaves us about 375, and we think that that's, while it meets code, quite low, probably for something like this. And it'd be best to consider additional spaces. But we actually have that parking area over there is about 9 functional acres. You know, with a good attendant, the applicant had some experience with this, with an event he had last year, and has some more experience parking cars. We would expect to at least get maybe about 90 cars an acre, with some attendants making people park a little tighter. So that would give you around the range of 800 cars in that site. I did ask the applicant to, you know, have some place for overflow parking in case that became necessary. And he said he could do that in the upper corner there where it says contestant parking. It's in the purple up there. And that's about an acre. So you could get quite a few more cars in there if you needed that. The traffic for this site, you know, it's out in the country. This is a slow road compared to most other roads, maybe a couple hundred cars a day, trips a day on this. The event is advertised from 4 to 10, but the actual rodeo is starting at 8. So he expects most of the traffic start showing up at 7:30 or so, which leads most of the traffic to be outside of a peak time. And it's on a, you know, Friday and then a Saturday too, which would have a little, maybe a little less traffic than normal. He does have attendants that will help park and could help with traffic. There will be sheriff deputies at the event. If we needed some help from them, I believe they could help you out. We also look at some of the sanitation and for the event. The diagram up there, I think, shows about 11 what we call porta-johns around here. And I did talk to him, and you'll see from some of the backup material, he actually ordered 13, which is what the industry would recommend for an event of this size and duration. And one of the portable facilities will be for handicap. And the applicant is providing trash cans, and there'll also be a hand washing station available for it. You know, drinks and food will be on site with the vendors. And then we did talk about there be York County Sheriff on site, and EMS will be located on site and have access to the old Highway 97 if they need to come and go. For the special event, we have 3 criteria that we're looking at, and along with them criteria, one part of the application process was the items you see, the letters of coordination you'll see in the back with for the sanitation and for the sheriffs and the EMT and so forth. So you look at the adequacy of water and sewer facilities, and as I described, we do find, you know, the amount of facilities are adequate according to industry standards. He has a hand washing station and stuff so people can clean up, and we would find that adequate. Then you look at number 2 would be impact on existing public services and public facilities. We wouldn't expect the anticipated impacts to be rather minimal in all consideration. You know that traffic is substantially will increase for the event on a really slow road. He has a really good deal of stacking to that entrance we can get in, so we can pull a lot of people off the road at one time to keep them from backing up. And then we did talk about the times of the event, and the peak time would be a little later in the day. And there's an adequate emergency route, so we would find this reasonable. Number 3, look at the compatibility of the proposed use with the surrounding uses. Like I described before, most of this is all zoned ag with some RUD lots a bit further away, and mostly are very large lots that are used for agriculture mixed with some forested areas. There's a few residential lots along the highway. We noticed quite a few more people than usual. We usually only notice 500 feet, but since we need to get like 30 properties in our notice vicinity, so we increased that 5 times at 2,500 feet to get notice of 35 people. And no opposition and only support was really shown from this. And the phone calls I got were along the lines of, you know, why do we have to do this, you know, kind of thing, and they were showing support for it. They really didn't have any things after the notice that were negative. And the nearest house is over 500 foot away from the corner of the supports contested parking. And a tree buffer surrounds the entire property, and as such, we found the use is compatible with the vast majority of the surrounding uses. So we would find that the proposed special exception meets all 3 of the approval criteria, and staff recommends approval of the request. And of course, you as a body can either approve, deny, or approve with conditions this use and to satisfy what you may find necessary for it. We do not propose any additional conditions. You see your letters of support in there. We find that adequate for the facility. And that kind of concludes my report. If you have any questions or
Yeah, I have a couple questions for you. And you might have mentioned this, but I might not have heard it. So if we approve this special exception, is this just for this May event or for any future as well?
this would be for the ones listed this year.
I didn't see anything listed other than the May.
I actually have it on the printed. There is some different things. So I had up here for the May 3rd and 4th,
Right,
and September
Okay.
13th and 14th.
okay, so it's for those 2 separate dates, or
Yep.
2
Let me
separate,
interject something there, because the applicant actually wrote
2 to
the
3.
2 to 3.
Mm-hmm,
Well,
So
we're narrowing it down. I talked to him, and that's what he proposes.
it'd be a shame if you had to come back and do this 2 or 3 times every
Well,
year.
exactly. I know.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a conversation before the meeting about this. so.
okay, so
Yeah.
so to answer my question, so it's for the May and the September events. Also, what's, from the county's perspective, where does alcohol come into this? Is the vendor supplying the alcohol, or do you require anything if people
County-
bring alcohol in? That's could be a concern, so,
We don't regulate the alcohol. He does have, police on site. That's a state
okay,
regulated
gotcha.
board.
Okay, my other question is, since it's an outdoor-only event, what about weather shelter? If there's, does the county require anything to be set up in case of severe weather?
We have it, and being a temporary event like it is, I would be a little concerned that anything we set up for temporary, if there was severe weather, would be not adequate.
Okay,
So, we're kind of out there, so.
so the
yeah.
county doesn't necessarily have any requirements on that? Okay. What about noise? You don't have any
It needs to be done
concern
by
about
10.
noise? Because there's nothing mentioned in here I didn't see.
Yeah, the time he has to be done with is 10, so that's when the noise
I'm
should,
sorry, what?
10 PM is when the noise should stop.
Okay, okay. All right. I think that's all I had for staff.
I have just one more question, that the county had a recommendation for parking area, number of porta-johns, quite a few things, but does the county have a recommendation for the number of, like off-duty sheriff's deputies that should be employed when you have this many people?
I kind of leave that to the sheriff's department. I know I've worked with them with other special events, and I know they have some experience with this, and they would, they would work with as many as they felt would be necessary. If they felt that they didn't have enough officers, I'm sure that they would propose there would be more.
Oh, so the sheriff's department would make a recommendation to them that if you're gonna
Yeah,
have
that would-
1,500 people,
be between them and the sheriff's department. I know he requested to it, and maybe he could elaborate on that a little bit more, but I do work with them, and they didn't, you know, have any concerns or tell me any issues with that. I've actually talked with them within the last week, so.
Any more questions for staff?
No.
All right, thank you. So we will open the public hearing. Is the applicant present and wishes to speak? Remember, name and address for the record, please.
Jeff Kelly, owner of 3771 Highway 97 in Hickory Grove, Buck and K Ranch. As far as the weather concern that you were talking about, protocol for rodeos, it goes on with rain. Any lightning in the sky is totally canceled. So that's not a problem. We handle that very well. I've rodeoed in my life. I mean, pretty much all my life. And there was another issue. What was it?
Sheriff's.
Oh, yeah, the sheriff deputy. I speak with the sheriff. He told me how many I needed. I go with what he says.
So my main concern about the number of sheriff's deputies is that, you know, when people start to park, they seem to like lose their mind.
Right.
I mean, you see it in every parking lot, people just crazy. And the emergency exit route, I can just see people seeing a clear shot and just deciding they're gonna park right in the middle of it.
Okay, so we have a parking crew, which I was part of last year. I gave it to somebody else this year. There is very good that helped me last year. They are very good at getting people off the road. If somebody needs out, we're very good at stopping, getting people out, whatever might need to be done. We had no problems whatsoever with traffic last year.
And you know a whole lot more about rodeo than I do, but I'm just thinking there might be a need for an ambulance at some point.
Yes. Yes. But now that's why Old 97 is open, and they know when they come there, they're right. My arena is right beside Old 97, so they park right there. We've got a clear opening to Old 97 and out. No, any type of blockage or whatever.
So that's gonna be blocked for anyone coming to attend.
Correct. Yeah,
But it's
nobody
open
can
for
enter. Nobody
emergency
can enter that
vehicle.
way. Correct.
Okay, all right.
So about the alcohol, do the vendors supply or do you allow people to,
No, nobody can bring, we stop anybody that's trying to bring alcohol in.
Okay,
We do, I do have one vendor
okay.
that is selling under their license. I'm getting my permit for a special event
Sure.
license to sell just, draft beer. No, nothing more than beer.
Okay, okay.
And that's that.
Yeah, and one thing you talked about, potential overflow parking lot to go where the contestants are, contestant parking lot. I would imagine that's where all the trailers and all, you might have RVs in there. Is that gonna be adequate space for overflow, or do you need to?
Yes, ma'am. We went over that. We've measured it. We've got all that under control.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we kind of blocked it last year and said, hey, let's just, try this out and put some people over here. Worked out great.
Okay.
If the event is canceled due to weather, do you plan on rescheduling for another weekend, or is it just off the calendar until September?
Unfortunately, it's off the calendar and I lose a lot of money.
Okay.
That's how that works.
Any more questions? All right, thank you. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak in support of the request?
I'm Kenny Gilfillan. I live at 3710 Sawmill Road. That's about 100 yards before you get to Highway 97 at the intersection of Old Highway 97. It was put on last year and it was well organized. They done a good job there. It helped our economy over there, people coming, stopping at stores, buying drinks and things like that. I didn't hear tell of any one person getting locked up last year for drinking or anything like that. You know, they had the police to take care of everything like that. And this is something that I'd like to see continue on, because it's a good thing, it's family oriented, and you talked about shelter to get under. You'd be surprised when you go there on Saturday afternoon, they have tents stuck up like tailgating at a football game or something. So, do we need something like that to go on? Yes, we do. And I can't say enough good things about it. And I live right there at it, and the noise don't bother me. You take Black Hawk Ranch down here on 322. That's a different story. They run after midnight at night with their rodeo. So, like I say, we need this over there in Hickory Grove. That's all I got to say about it.
Any questions? Any questions?
My name is Bristol Norris. I live 3780 Sawmill Road, which is practically Jeff Kelly's neighbor. I'm 15-year-old. I've been competing in sport of rodeo since I was 18 months old. My sister and I both competed at the first annual Bucking K Rodeo in 2023. Most rodeos I enter, I usually have to drive 2+ hours to get there, so it is really nice to have one right down the road. Some of these people here know who I am today, but if you don't, I've been one of the top ranked bull riders in the country over the years. But this comes with its struggles due to the fact that most youth rodeos and high school rodeo will not allow me to ride because I'm a girl. So this leads me to compete with amateur pro rodeos, and this is what Jeff brings to Hickory Grove, South Carolina. He puts on bull riding practices monthly and always provides a good stock and proper bullfighters, which is hard to find. He allows people to come and ride their horses during the week. Jeff has always provided a safe and fun environment to ride and compete at. Jeff made sure at the first annual Bucking K to announce that I was a hometown local athlete, and I was honored to represent Hickory Grove. If you weren't at his first rodeo, you missed an outstanding event that helped small businesses promote through being vendors. It gave local families a great place to come, and it promoted rodeo in a fantastic way. I support Bucking K and Jeff Kelly 100%, and so does my family.
Anyone else want to speak in support of the request?
Scott Childers, 1349 Filbert Highway in York. Some of y'all probably know I was on this board many years ago. So I looked through this application. I don't live out at Hickory Grove, but the western part of York County, this is definitely something we need. We don't have anything like this around here. I've heard nothing negative about the last rodeo that Jeff had. Every single person I know that didn't come just from Hickory Grove Sheridan area. They come from all over our county and other counties. And there's folks that's never had an opportunity to go to rodeo, especially some of the young children with Ed Brown shutting down, some of the ones over in Lancaster shutting down. And we really need this. But I want to reiterate, nothing negative came from anything that I've heard from anybody in our entire community. And I think that's very important. It shows with everything he's got in his application, with his information from Millsaps, with his information from the folks around him, all the neighboring community, with his invoices, with everything he's done with the sheriff. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really know Mr. Kelly that well. But when I saw this on the agenda, I felt like I needed to be here. Both of my daughters were in rodeo for years. They're grown up now. One of them really enjoyed it. And right now, she wouldn't have anywhere else to go that's anywhere close. And this is near and dear to my heart as well, especially being on the western side of York County. So anything y'all could do to approve this would be greatly appreciated from a lot of folks in this county. Thank you.
Anyone else? You'll have a chance to return after everyone speaks.
My name is Kevin Hatfield. I live at 3359 Shady Bark Trail, Catawba, South Carolina. I live about 45 minutes away from Jeff. Jeff and I have been best friends for 30 years, we traveled together. I rodeoed with this man. What he's bringing to York County has allowed, I'm getting a little choked up, but has allowed my grandbaby that is 6 years old to live in an environment to see what really needs to happen in this country, this community. And every time she comes to my house, she wants to know, hey, are we going to Jeff's? When we going back to Jeff's? I want to go to Jeff's. That's all she talks about. She's actually been signed up for riding us at Jeff's house. So I really seriously think this is what we need. Thank you.
My name is Carolyn Atkins, 7245 Park Place Road. I wasn't planning on speaking, but my daughter is 30 years old now. She is Samantha Atkins Beckler. She is a pro rodeo barrel racer, pole bender, and everything. I could not go to her rodeos when she was growing up because they were so far away. I have 7 children, and I run a dairy farm, so I couldn't leave just to go to a rodeo. And this gives an opportunity to the young people in York County. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone wish to speak in opposition to the request? Seeing none, does the applicant care to return?
Again, I'm Jeff Kelly. I just wanted to reiterate on this alcohol thing. I don't want you to think this is a drunk fest or some place where you can go and drink ample amounts of beer. I mean, the line is so long, you get 1 or 2 beers, whatever the case may be. But like he said, I created this to be a family-oriented, if you would have been at the last rodeo, and I encourage you to come to this one, every person that walked through that gate had, it seemed to be 4 or 5 kids. It was families only. There was no riffraff, no, people causing trouble. I'm telling you, it was so family-oriented. I was so impressed with, and that's the way I created it with all the vendors that we have, all the fair-type stuff that we have to create that feeling. And I think that really happened, and the crowd spoke for that. I encourage you to come to this next one and see exactly who comes and see how it is. Because just because I'm selling alcohol, I don't want you to think that it's a bad thing. It's not. I just had, just to feel like the family gets out and, the dad wants to have a draft beer or whatever to relax. And because you're only going to get one. The crowds were, trying to get into that line, trying to get a beer was, you pretty much are just going to get 1 or 2. So, I didn't want you to think bad of us selling alcohol, which it is just beer. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will close the public hearing, and we need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the variance and allow them to host the event.
I have a motion and a second.
Do we want any
Did you get
conditions?
the Second. I think we had a couple of seconds. I don't know which one you got. So we have motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do we want to add any conditions regarding the amount of porta-johns and the parking, or do you not think it's necessary?
It's already listed in the proposal and it's already been contracted and approved from what I read.
Okay.
Any discussion? No? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? Motion passes. I assume you all won't be staying for the rest of the meeting? In the event you go, in the event you don't want to stay, we'll hold on for just a second while y'all make your way.
Good luck.
Oh, yeah, thanks. All right, the next order of business is vote for chairperson for 2024. I will say I had no idea that Jeff Hunter was not going to be here this evening, so, or that his term was up.
Well, you did a good job. And I guess you're looking for motions for,
You're gonna have to nominate somebody.
I nominate you.
Would you accept, Jeff?
And
Yeah.
first, Ms.,
I've done it before.
we'll need to make sure there are no other nominations before we move to a vote on it.
Okay.
Say that again?
We just need to make sure there are no other nominations before we move to a vote.
So we have one nomination. Are there any others? So do we close the nomination process?
You are good.
All right, so I will hope there's no discussion on this. I guess all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. And can I vote against? No, that's it. All right, and vote for vice chair for 2024. It may be actually a benefit if we kind of understood everyone's terms, because
Right.
you know, if your term is going to expire partway through the year, that may be a kind of complicating issue. So is there anyone that won't be here through 2024? No?
And I'm happy to weigh in on that if you'd like. Certainly it can complicate things. That question was posed to me. I have not seen any direct prohibition on it. However, if someone's term is up, yes, you do run the risk of having to go through this process again if and when they vacate the seat.
So it would be a contributing factor, but not an eliminating factor. Right?
Yes, sir.
All right, the floor is open. We do need a nomination.
Would you be willing?
Go outside
I don't
yourself,
think I'm
and Barbara and I are
qualified.
short timers unless I mean, do you, either of you want to? I mean, you don't wanna nominate people who don't wanna do it, but would either of you consider it?
What are the duties and responsibilities? Because they vary.
As vice chair, you just run the meeting when the chairman's not here?
It's a good summary.
May I nominate you?
I'll put it this way, would either of you not wanna do it?
I'll do it. I've run meetings for.
I'll nominate Ashley to be vice chair.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by raising your right hand.
No, I presume there are no other nominations then.
What's that?
I presume there are no other nominations.
Oh, excuse me. Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none. Now, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. All right, and opposed?
Thank you.
I don't see any opposed. So, we have that covered. And then I assume this is just information, the annual report?
That's correct. Yep.
All
Sorry it's so late, but we didn't meet until,
This is the first of the year.
yeah, yeah.
Hard to believe in April, but
Yeah.
you guys must be busy.
So with that, we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by raising your right hand.
Thank you.
No one's opposed, passes.